What's up guys, Noah from TemplateFC here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to use our DisplaceFC Photoshop add-on, I'm calling it. It's not really an add-on, it's kind of just an action with some displacement maps, and it's basically an actions pack full of actions you can use to enhance your patterns and your designs for uniforms, kits, general graphic design projects. It's great on text and things like that, patterns. I use it a lot, it's safe to say. If you guys aren't familiar, I also am Qehzy on Instagram. And if you look through my kit designs, I use the things in this pack for literally every design. It's kind of like one of my secrets, I guess, but I thought I would make it into a little pack. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me walk you through how it kind of works. So first of all, the link for this is in the description below. It is a free download. When you download it and unzip it, you'll get a folder called DisplaceFC. You'll have a action file, which is the .atn. You'll have a PSD, which is just full of examples. You don't necessarily need that. You can do all of this within your smart objects on your mockup templates. Specifically our mockup templates, these should fit the perfect size for them. Or just any general Photoshop file. It doesn't have to be this, but if you want to look at examples and things like that, this is what that file's for. And then you have the folder full of the displacement maps. Now there's a lot of them. I think they take up quite a bit of space. Basically a gig. So they're basically the whole entire file. Like they're what you're downloading. It's why it takes so long to download. You can go through those maps and delete the ones you don't want to use. That's kind of how I go about this. I delete things that I don't use and just curate it to how I want to do things. But once you have that downloaded, you open up your Photoshop and you have your pattern that you want to design with or do things to, you're going to want to use your actions folder. So if I open my actions folder, I don't have the DisplaceFC. You have to install it. Simply take it and drag it into Photoshop and it will pop up. Now, I'm kind of going to walk you through how all of these work, but I do want to show you some examples. So we'll start with the simple examples first. So these are just on black and white diagonal stripes. So you can see we have a couple different waves and liquefy options. So you can see this is wave 2 normal, wave 2 heavy. So just adding waves. Here's one with like smaller waves in it, which you can really see in the heavy version. Then we have liquefy, a heavy liquefy, another liquefy, another heavy liquefy. And then the textured effect and the cross texture, you can't really see on the 2D elements. You need a little more texture and color to be able to see those. But then you have the displace normal and displace heavy. And this is with the first displacement map. You can see all of the displacement maps are here. So you can go through these if you want an idea of how they look, or you can just go through the maps themselves. But that's kind of the things they do. There's also a displace horizontal and vertical, which is great for when you're using horizontal or vertical lines, which I will hopefully get time to show you real quick. But let's walk through some real life examples of when I've kind of used these. Now, the city one, you can see I created a pattern, some colors and stuff, and got to this stage, I guess, which wasn't good enough for me. And I did also use some of these techniques throughout, like there are some waves already in here. But before I finished, I went ahead and added some waves. I added some liquefy. And then I think I added just a bit of displacement, something like this. So add displacement and add a layer mask to kind of hide some spots. So this is similar to what my final Man City design was like. And then you can also add things like another wave and then maybe a cross texture to clean it up a bit. So there's one example. Here's a quick Liverpool example. So we started here, add some waves, some liquefy, some heavy liquefy, kind of create some interesting textures with the texture that was already here, some displace, cross texture, and then the textured effect. Tottenham. Boom. And then enter. This one is probably my favorite. You start here, Add some waves, some displace, some more waves, some more displace. And this is the displace vertical. You can see it just does it vertically, and then some more liquefy to top that off. And then this Bayern one. This is kind of similar to the one that I will show you as an example, but you can see the process of how we go from here all the way to here, and basically take a simple pattern and make it a lot more interesting and unique. And that's what I like to do for my personal designs, and you can do it for your designs no matter what they are. So to use this, it's pretty simple. If I duplicate this background, from the wave on down, all you need to do is select the effect. So let's do wave 2 normal, let's say. Come down, press play, and it will do it for you. Now, if you like that, but you want a little bit more, you can just press play again and keep doing it. You can do that as much as you want, which is why this is great. And then maybe we want to do liquefy or heavy, wave 2 heavy, or maybe liquefy heavy. Maybe we want to do it again. And maybe we want to do liquefy 2 heavy. And now look at where we went from this to this just by clicking play. So you can see you can do a lot by doing very little. Now, obviously doing that much isn't always going to translate because you're going to get blurry edges and things like that. That's okay. You can also use the cross texture to kind of clean some of those up a bit. Yeah, so all of these are pretty easy to use. Now for the displacements, if I go to displace normal, click play, I will get a pop-up with the settings because the action wants to run, but the original displacement map I selected is not available on your computer. So it doesn't run automatically. So you have to click OK and then select your own displacement map because this is purposefully set up. So you have to just go through and choose which one you want. So again, there's a lot here. There's a lot of options. It kind of starts with your static kind of techie vibes. And then we go to bubbles, which are fun. And then there's aluminum foil kind of looks. And then we have just some of my personal favorites at the end. So this one is a pattern that I created using these techniques, actually. Another pattern I created, and then just some of my favorite tech and abstract things that I've created in the past. But actually, let's use this one. So you just have to select the map, click open, and it will add your displacement. That's as simple as the displacement goes. Very easy to use. I do want to point out that the vertical displace and horizontal displace, sometimes you might not notice them as much. Like if you do it and you're like, wait, I did a horizontal displace, but it looks like it displaces vertical. That's because it kind of gives that illusion. So it's great for using horizontal when you have horizontal stripes and you want to keep that negative space. And I will create a quick example for you guys. Okay, here's a quick little setup of some horizontal stripes. And you'll notice when you have striping, you have the negative space, which is the background color. So like these purple blocks. So when you add these effects and things, sometimes you don't want them overlapping too much so it becomes scrambled so you can't see the horizontal stripes as clearly. So if you do a displace and you do horizontal, click play, you'll get this, click OK. And let's find one. When I do this too, I like to find a map that has horizontal elements. So like this one does have horizontal elements that I think would work. So 7 works too. So let's just do open. And okay, it's going to be very subtle, but you can see it is being done in here. And now if we had more colors and things, it would be more apparent. I thought the gradient would be enough to kind of show it. I should have used a more obvious gradient, I guess, but it doesn't bleed into the purple negative. So that's when it's great. And we can just go to, well, let's just keep doing it. Yeah. So no matter how many times I do this, the striping won't come and bleed into the purple. So that's why these are great. That's why they're here. to save you just a little bit of time with that. Now let's create our own pattern in like 5 minutes doing this. So sometimes I cheat when I make my patterns. Oops, let me make this a black background. Sometimes I use our patterns pack. So we have a bunch of pattern packs on TemplateFC. This one is the classic patterns pack volume 3. Now I'm using an old version of it, so the name might not be exactly right. I changed all these names, but this is Kara Home 91. Looks like this, cool pattern. Let's drag it into our document and create a quick pattern. So it's black on black, that's not very helpful. Let me rasterize it. Command I, okay. And let's size this up appropriately. Nice. Now I'm going to duplicate it and we're going to add some color to 2 of these. So let's do color. I want purple. And then the bottom one, I want blue or teal, cyan, whatever you want to call this. Click OK. And I'm going to take that bottom layer and just offset it. Like this. So this is kind of like that Bayern kit I was telling you about. So you take a pattern, you make it a color, you take the pattern again, make it another color and offset it. And you can also do something like press Command and click the thumbnail to select it, add a layer mask, press Command I to inverse it, unlink the chain, make sure the mask is selected, and offset it the opposite way so you get more of like an outline look. So that's another way you can do that. That looks good. I'm just gonna leave the whole thing though, so we have more color. And I'm gonna select these layers, Command J and Command E. And this is usually how I will work on it then with these effects. I will have everything merged. You can also Command A, Command C, and Command V, so it's in a cropped version of that. Or you can just use the full version, so this bleeds into the edges a little bit, which is fine. So let's go ahead and add some effects. Let me open up the actions and I'm going to start with some waves and liquefy. So I'm going to do wave 2 normal. Press play, so some nice waves. And let's do liquefy normal. Cool. I like that. It's already a lot more interesting. It's not the uniform pattern it was before. I like stuff like this a lot more. I think it's a lot more interesting. But let's go ahead. Whenever I add displacement, I duplicate the layer so it's on a new layer. So let me duplicate this with Command J. Let's go to Displace, click play, click OK. And let's get a displacement map. Now, some of my favorite ones are these foil ones. I think they're my favorite. Now, it depends what you're doing, but a lot of times I will use these first. And let's click open. And that looks pretty good. I enjoy that kind of style of effect, but if it's too much for you, you can always add some layer masks. Now, I do this frequently, almost every time I displace. So the 2 techniques I use are creating a layer mask. First, you gotta do that for both ways. You can do the brush way, so you can just get a brush. I like this one in my Qehzy's kit designer pack on TemplateFC. I think that's what it's called. I have these like paintbrush looking ones, and I like this one. I don't know if it has a name, but I use this, and I'll just come across and just click in some random spots. Now for this one, it's not like a crazy strong displacement, so I would probably keep it light like this. But some of the ones displace it very heavily, and I might use it more just to leave little bits here and there. So that's one way you can do it. The other way, if I duplicate this, delete the layer mask, make a new layer mask. The other way is to get the pen tool and just cut across. And you can do random shapes, you can do whatever you want. You can also go like back and forth a little bit. I usually just do it in this one way. And then right click, fill path. Make sure you have the layer mask selected when you do this. Fill path black, right click, delete. So then you have different like random triangles of the displacement. And with this method too, actually with both methods, but this one, it usually looks better. You can unlink the chain, come to the layer, press Command T. And if you increase the size, you can do stuff like this. So you get like cool cuts in the design. And another cool thing to do when you do this, if you don't want the straight line aspect, you just have to select everything, Command J, Command E, and you just give it a little wave. So let's do, we can do wave heavy, see what that looks like. Actually, wave 2 heavy, because I don't want the little ones. And there you go. You can also maybe liquefy heavy, go crazy. Now it's a completely different thing. Now that would be a little too much for me, but I think that looks pretty awesome. It's pretty unique. Now, if I was designing this, the kind of vision I had in my head is more something like this. And I would select both of these, Command J, Command E. So we have that on a new layer, and I would do my finishing touches here. So I actually might add, I don't know, maybe just a little more liquefy. And maybe you don't like it and you just hit Command Z and go back. Maybe I'm happy with this. So let's wrap it up. So actually, yeah, let's do another displacement first. Let's do a displacement heavy, play, click OK, and let's do a different displacement map. I have one in mind that's kind of, oh, this one. This one just has a lot of texture to it and you get like cool fuzziness. So let me click open. Yeah, stuff like that. And now this is one where it's a little too much. So I'm gonna add a layer mask, get the brush, and we're gonna really kind of go to town. So I just want some little bits of it, which is perfect. That's exactly what I want. Now let's select these 3 layers. By the way, when I'm merging these, I'm always selecting one of the background layers because these obviously have layer masks. So I can't duplicate that and work from it because it has a lot of empty space. So we got to select, make sure we get the background, Command J, Command E. So this is a new layer. And now I can do my final touches. So let's do the cross texture first, and I kind of can show you what that does. So if you look at these kind of parts with like the little particles at the end, if I run the cross texture, also look at the edges of everything. If I run this, you can see it cleans up some of those outlying dots. So it hides them, gives you more of the negative space, and it will highlight some of the edges. So if I zoom out, you can kind of see the difference there. Now, for some patterns that maybe won't look as good, but for me, I think that looks pretty good. Now let's duplicate it and let's do the textured effect. So I can zoom in again on this one and press play. You'll see it changes the colors slightly. So depending on your color, it might change. And that I say slightly, sometimes it can be a lot. So keep that in mind, but it adds some of the film grain, which I think when you add that to a mockup template, which is what we sell and have, when you add this to our mockup template, it just adds a little bit more of the realism, because obviously a perfect 2D pattern won't look quite right because it's too clean. So you need some of these, some of the grain in there to make it look a little more authentic, which I like. But if the color change is a little too dramatic for you, you can also come in and bump the opacity down. Usually I have to go into like the 30s or 40s, but this one I think I'm gonna keep pretty high at 75. And there is my pattern. And if you're working in a mockup template, you just save it and go back to the template and see your work displayed. So I hope you guys enjoy this freebie. I hope it's enjoyable. I hope it helps improve your work a lot. Let me know what other freebies you'd like to see. Be sure to check out TemplateFC.com for mockups, templates, patterns, freebies, and all that good stuff. If you enjoyed the video, please like it and subscribe to the channel for more like it. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.